Everyone, my name is Matt Shaver. I'm a third-year marketing major, leadership studies minor. I'm in the honors contract program, so we're the honors contract kids. Anyone? There we go. We're the rep. I'm in the consumer packaged goods industry cluster, and so our partner companies are Procter & Gamble, Smuckers, and Kroger. At least they were this year. I think some of the most impactful things that I learned from my cluster was just the importance of understanding your consumer very well. In consumer packaged goods, a lot of it is related to the marketing that the firms do, and so direct targeted marketing is much easier to do if you understand who your end consumer is and you know what they like and more importantly what they dislike. So then also just taking that and applying it to a brand marketing mindset. I'm going to have an internship in brand marketing this upcoming summer, and this cluster has kind of helped me to prepare for that.
No round of applause for Matt. No, my name's Nathan Coffey. I'm a third-year student studying finance with a minor in economics. I am in the business analytics industry cluster, and the sponsor companies for that cluster are JP Morgan Chase, Scotts Miracle-Gro, and Cardinal Health. And one of the interesting things I really enjoyed this semester from the cluster is really working with the sponsor companies. So I worked with Cardinal Health this semester, and just being able to network with these professionals, getting to learn from their challenges that they face in their career and how they've navigated through their career paths, and really just gaining that knowledge from them and being able to take that in my own life. Thanks.
So I'm Jeff Barkas. I'm a fourth year in industrial engineering, so non-Fisher students, you can make it through this. So I was also at business analytics this past semester. The way the cluster helped me a lot was just, it very much got me interested in business analytics and how companies can use data now to drive smarter decision making. And as a result of this cluster, I've actually got an internship with Pepsi doing some supply chain analytics for this coming summer. So very excited for that.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Pastor. I am a third-year human resources major with a minor in health and society. I'm in the healthcare industry cluster, and some of our partners include Nationwide Children's Hospital, the James, and the Ohio State Medical Center. So I did my project at Nationwide, and I learned a lot about process improvement and value-added time. So I think that the project management experience that I gained at Nationwide is an invaluable skill that I'll carry with me.
Okay, so like I said, I'm going to ask a few general questions and then I'll open up. My first question, and this could be answered by anyone or more than one of you. Tell me about a typical class in the industry clusters program. What happens week to week?
So for the business analytics industry cluster, kind of can categorize it into two sections, the first semester and the second semester. So the first semester is really laying the groundwork for analytics, so you're really working on developing certain skills with a few case studies, so working with data sets and how you're navigating those large chunks of data. And then the second semester is really is project oriented, so you're starting to really dig into your projects, learning from what picking up where you left off the first semester and really driving those projects so you can deliver something to the company sponsors.
Just to add on to that, the fall semester is normally, they bring in guest speakers from the industry, from the corporate sponsors, and that'll probably be every week or every other week. You'll have a different speaker come in, very high level people from manager to executive director levels that at least business analytics had, and I'm sure the other clusters do as well. And then the spring you'll do a semester long project using the skills and kind of networking that you developed in the fall to help the company out in the spring and actually drive solid business results.
My next question is the type of professional, you kind of alluded to the level of executives. So what type of professional development does the cluster program offer that differs from other programs with which you have participated?
I think the unique thing about the cluster program is you get to interact a lot of professionals in the industry, and they are they are at the top. For example, in the consulting cluster, we get to we get to meet the partners from McKinsey and a lot of higher up people from Accenture, and those are like really famous companies. And you get to ask them any questions you want and really get close interaction with them. And later on, you get to add them on LinkedIn, and if you want, you can keep connecting with them. So I think this kind of experience to give you the network into the industry and hear the stories of the people who have huge and deep insights into the industry is very helpful and unique.
I would say for consumer packaged goods, you really get a large variety, which is really cool. So I could get anyone from a regional manager for the Kroger's that started as someone just working at Kroger as like a bagger, so that's really cool to kind of see their journey. Very similar with Smucker's and Procter & Gamble. Those are very career-focused companies, so you could be talking to people like the CMO or CIO at Smucker's who have been there for 20 years or so. They just kind of work their way up through the company. And then there were past executives that came in and talked to our class, so a lot of very knowledgeable people in higher leadership. For me in particular, I got to know the CIO, Innovation Officer at Smucker's very well. And then actually when I was at the Smucker's facility interviewing, he came into my room and he said, "Hey Matt, like great to see you," and just kind of burst into my interview. And then when he left, all my interviewers were like, "How do you know Barry?" Like, and so it was really cool just to kind of have that personal connection with people that are actually higher up in a company. And that was my experience with it, and I definitely enjoyed it.
So raise a hands, who does not have a LinkedIn? So I'm actually very impressed. Good job. So those of you who don't, you really should get one as soon as possible, especially before the fall. Because of these executives you'll be meeting, as they alluded to before, you can request them on LinkedIn and develop that stronger professional network if you ever want to work for them in the future as well.
Another thing is some of the speakers that come in during the first semester you may have the chance to work with during the second semester in your project. So for example, there was one man that came to speak from Nationwide, and he ended up helping out a little bit with our project, and I got very close with my project sponsor. And then sometimes your sponsors will set up meetings with professionals in the industry so that you can have one-on-one. So this past week I got to meet with 2 women in HR, and I got to spend about 3 hours down at Nationwide, and that was an amazing opportunity because I was only supposed to talk to them for about 20 minutes each. And they both gave me a lot of help on my resume and different things to talk about in interviews. So it definitely helped with professional development, and you can make a lot of great contacts.
So we'll start with Alyssa. Alyssa talked a little bit about the project just now. Can you elaborate on the project, what you learned from the project, or what your project experience was like?
So in the healthcare cluster, I was working with 2 other business majors. A lot of the other groups had non-Fisher students, so there were a bunch of kids in pharmacy and neuroscience and other things that I have no idea what they really do. So for us, we had more of a businessy project. Ours was pretty operations-based. We were looking at a pulmonary clinic which deals with asthma patients, and we looked more at the process flow. So our project required a lot of observations, more so than data analysis. So the first probably 2 or 3 months, we focused mainly on observation. So you'd go into your industry partner, and for sometimes we were there for 4 hours on end, and you're just gathering data, trying to collect. Then we'd work our data, and we had the help of our sponsor. He wasn't expecting us to know how to manipulate mass amounts of data without prior instruction. And a big thing that we really pulled away from the project is if you don't understand what your project sponsor is telling you, keep asking until they understand that you don't understand. So it's kind of that increased communication, and a lot of it is just being patient with what you need. So if somebody's using a term that you don't know, just keep asking, and if they answer with using that same term, ask again and ask if it's similar to something else that you understand, because they are willing to help. It's just sometimes people are so immersed in an industry that they don't realize the vocabulary they're using you don't know. So it's a lot of persistence, and again with the project, you gain very valuable project management experience. So we presented in a large room at Nationwide in front of other groups and other executives, so it's a really cool experience.
So for my project, it was very cool, marketing focused, and we got to do a lot of primary research, secondary research, so that was definitely something unique to my project group, which was really cool. I think we made a survey and got well over 150 respondents, which is cool to have that data that you collected that you can then use. One thing I would say is that not every project is going to necessarily be new or fresh. They may have had it the year before, but that doesn't mean that you can't put a new spin on it or take it a different way. And so while ours was something that had already been done before, we decided to take it in a completely different direction than what the last project group had done. And I think that the representatives really respected that and really liked our outcome. Also, I would say time management is crucial. I know going into this, you're all thinking, oh, well, I have a whole semester to do a project as opposed to some classes I usually do 3 or 4. These projects are a lot bigger, and if you save them all until the end, you will be very upset with yourself and you will probably have a very bad product. So I would say from the get-go, kind of have a timeline of what you and your team are going to do together and then make sure to hit those points, or else come April, you're going to be scrambling around and you're not going to know what your end result is.
Just one last thing to add, your industry partners will notice if you are scrambling because you are presenting to high-level executives and they're used to a certain caliber of quality. So definitely don't put things off, especially if you're collecting data, because you will run into no-shows and days where you simply cannot collect any data because there's nothing available. So definitely make sure that you are persistent with collecting and don't wait till the last minute, because you may have to present more than once. So I know for my group, we presented it nationwide last week, we're presenting in class next week, and then we're going back to nationwide and presenting again. So it does get very busy, and you want to have your presentation done probably a week or so before you actually have to present, so you can make sure it's to the level of quality that they're anticipating.
So I think that's a really good point. One of the feedback that we get from industry partners all the time is that they're used to seeing MBA caliber presenters, and so undergraduate presenters, they are, they notice the difference. So one of the things that they talk about all the time is those polished presentations and students who do practice and give themselves time because they are expecting a really good product. They've been working with you for a very long time. All right, so tell me what it means learning by experience. You guys have all kind of talked about this in different ways, like you've done new things and you've tried new things and you've practiced. What does that look like?
For us, we tried to implement interventions in the asthma clinic, and we actually ended up making it worse. So for us, learning by experience was actually making the situation kind of significantly worse than it was before, and then we ended up just trying to increase communication and figure out if that would help us get to a better place in the clinic. So I know that after we talked to different staff members, we figured out what was going wrong and why this wasn't working, so we adapted to change. So I think that being receptive to change and also not sticking with one idea, because I know that we had a couple ideas we were very passionate about, but they simply would not work, so we had to kind of let go of those, and we learned from that.
I think one of the coolest things that we got to do in the business analytics group was the fact that Professor Greco gave us the opportunity to do outside research with him. So for instance, I actually did a lot of statistical analysis on the football team. I know we had such a great year this year, so I actually was looking into the statistics between J.T. Barrett, Cardale, and Braxton against other quarterbacks in the nation to see who should have actually won the Heisman. So that type of analysis, using business analytics, using some of the software that we're learning in class, it was just a really nice way outside of the core focus of this clusters program